On an overcast and gloomy Saturday afternoon, it is game one of today's doubleheader of WPF softball. Up first, the reigning champion Texas Smoke looking to go up 3-0 in their series against the expansion Coastal Bend Tidal Wave. Coming to you on the official WPF YouTube channel, Brant Freeman alongside Bill Colhane, and Bill, the Smoke team continues to stay, no pun intended, smoking hot. They've won 9 straight.
Yeah, and yesterday was just another day at the office, right? 3 more home runs for the Smoke, put up 9 runs, including 7 in the bottom of the second inning, and Wright was exceptional in the circle for the Smoke yesterday.
Speaking of the circle, Jordan Dale gets a start today for the reigning champions. Jordan Dale from Forest, Virginia, played her college softball at Oregon 4 seasons with the Ducks, and in her second season with the Smoke as a part of last year's championship team, making her first appearance in the circle in this series. As we now look at the Tidal Wave batting order, led off by Cassie Valdez, should be followed by Tate Whitley and Tatum Anzaldo here in the first inning. Hitters 4, 5, and 6, Trinity Cannon, Kelly Lynch, and Julie Jimenez. Batters 7, 8, and 9, Rylan Wiggins, Michaela Ramos, and Grace Chellerman. An offense that has really struggled against the Smoke's pitching. Just 1 run scored so far for those Tidal Wave bats.
Yeah, when you're already feeling the pressure like you have to play perfect softball in order to get the win, when you're not getting the base hits, when you're not stringing together base runners, it just adds to that pressure.
And the Smoke have really had the Tidal Wave's number this season, now 6-0 against Coastal Bend, and they've run ruled the Tidal Wave 3 times. You may notice another new uniform, by the way, for the Texas Smoke. We've seen some of these teams adopt nicknames. The Monarchs wearing a jersey that sports San Marvelous. Well, it is Bat City across the chest of the jerseys here for the Smoke. And on the back of the jerseys, the player nicknames. How about that?
Yeah, very nice. And, of course, paying homage to the home of the Smoke last year, the city of Austin, Congress Street Bridge. The bats fly out every day at sundown.
And you can see it, by the way, yes, the rain's starting to fall here in St. Marcus. It's been raining off and on throughout the day.
I did my rain dance.
Why'd you do that?
No.
Oh, to keep it away?
Yeah, keep it away.
Okay. All right. I thought you did it intentionally to make it rain.
No, partner. This isn't my first rodeo.
Valdez was the starting pitcher for the Tidal Wave in Thursday's opener. Batting for the first time in the series. Fouls that back, and it's 2-2. And Bill Valdez pitched, I thought, really well Thursday.
Yeah, she was exceptional in the circle, and we've talked about it so far this season, every season, but as a pitcher, give your team a chance to win, and she certainly did that.
That's out of play. Count remains 2-2 to Valdez. Again, talked about the Tidal Wave offensively over the last 3 games, a grand total of 2 runs scored. The only run of this series came in Thursday's opener, a solo homer hit by Anzaldo in the 4th inning, and that's been it.
And there for a while, we thought that would stand up. The Smoke's offense had other ideas.
Count fills to Valdez from Brownsville, Texas. An NAIA player, the collegiate level at Our Lady of the Lake. And in her final year this year at OLLU, hit 15 homers and an OPS close to 1,300.
She feels somewhat right at home here at Bobcat Softball Stadium.
Ground ball to short, Denver Bryants. And there's 1 away here in the top of the 1st inning.
Nice play by Bryant. You heard Brant mention it. Mason over at first base today. We've seen her behind the plate wearing the gear also this season.
So 1 up and 1 down for Jordan Dale. She'll face Tate Whitley here. And by the way, we're not always told about player nicknames. You don't find out about them, all the time. But now we get to learn what they are by simply looking at the backs of the jerseys here in the game today.
Are you writing them down for future reference?
That is a great idea. I probably should start doing that. Just saw Denver Bryant's den. Yeah. Jordan Dale's is pretty simple, the initials of JD.
Sometimes the ponytails can get in our way, though.
Writing this down, JD and Bryant, DEN. There we go.
There you go. He's really doing it, folks, watching out there on YouTube.
That is a foul ball. And that'll bring the batter, Tate Whitley, back to the plate. Whitley so far in the series, but a tough one for her. 0 for 5 with the strikeout.
However, has done her typical, usual great job in left field. We've seen her make some really nice plays so far in the series. Well, we would have to get Frankie, our stat guy, on it, but I'd love to know some of these batting averages. You know, one column versus the Smoke, another column versus all others.
That's fair because that pitching staff is so deep. You look at the starting pitching for the Smoke so far in this two-game series. It's been Autumn Pease and Jayla Wright, and the two have combined to allow just one earned run across 10 2/3 innings.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Talking about giving your team a chance to win.
Bases empty, one away for Whitley with Anzaldo waiting on deck. Swing and a miss, and the first strikeout of the game for Dale.
Yeah, pulled the string. Got Whitley way out in front. Get another look at it here, and Whitley kind of pulling off the pitch as well, trying to get that running start up the first baseline.
Jordan Dale, a tremendous career in Eugene with the Oregon Ducks. Threw a couple of no-hitters during her time at Oregon. As this ball's rolled to the second baseman of Espinosa, bobbles it, and Alzado is going to reach. We've seen some good defense from Espinosa at second base in the series in place of Danae Jefferson, but that ball got the better of her. It's an error, and the inning continues.
Yeah, get a look at it again. It looked like Espinosa kind of backed up on the ball, took a couple of drop steps, and you've heard me mention it, Brant, and I know you know this, but the ball's going to speed up. And that's what happened to her, handcuffed her, and with the way Anzaldo runs, once Espinosa doesn't make that initial play cleanly, no chance at all to get her.
Up at the plate now, Trinity Cannon takes strike one. And for the Smoke, that is her second error of the series. Team that usually plays pretty solid defense, infield and outfield. One ball and one strike to Cannon. The former Texas A&M Aggie. Had a career year with the Aggies this year, hitting .349. Blasted out 18 homers and drove in 63.
A&M, there's a program that's on the rise. There's a good take from Cannon, taking that pitch up and out.
Have to imagine there's some family support here, not only for Cannon, but there are several former Aggies playing on these WPF rosters.
Yeah, just had a look at some Texas A&M fans there. Texas A&M, the campus, about 2 hours due east of here.
Rylan Wiggins, Cannon's teammate for the Tidal Wave, also teammates together in College Station. Jazz Hill for the Smoke, currently in left field, also a former Aggie. Hitters count 3-1. Cannon grounds it foul, and the count fills 3-2.
And that's one thing that we already knew it, but it's certainly been confirmed in our time with the WPF. There is a strong following for the game of softball. College softball, we know it. I mean, everybody, we all watch the World Series, and you just see that stadium packed, standing room only. Well, we know that programs across the United States of America have a lot of loyal fans.
That's a walk. And so after the first two retired by Dale, an error and a walk to Cannon. So 2 on now, 2 down. Going to bring up the designated player, Kelly Lynch.
Brant, you talk about it all the time, rightfully so. 2-out hitting. Hitting with runners in scoring position. When you play a team like the Smoke, all that stuff's magnified even more.
Well,
you have to take advantage.
Yeah, the Smoke can tell you more than anybody else how big two-out offense can be as Lynch steps in to face Dale and takes ball one. In the game yesterday, in the second inning, Haley Archer, starting pitcher for the Tidal Wave, retired the first two batters of the inning. After that, 7 runs scored for the Tidal Wave, turning that game completely into their favor on their way to a 9-0 run rule victory.
It's breathtaking at times, as you see a visit there in the circle. Breathtaking at times how quickly the Smoke can construct a rally. You see all these, we talk about crooked numbers, right? Usually you're talking about 2 runs, 3 runs in an inning. For the Smoke lately, 6, 7s, 7, 5.
It is 4 consecutive games now. The Smoke have had an inning with 7 runs or more, exactly 7 in each of the last 3 games. That is ball 3 to Lynch. They had a 10-run frame last Friday against Hub City, scored 7 runs in the Sunday game, 7 runs in the 6th inning of this series on Thursday, 7 of the 2nd inning last night.
And there are a lot of hitting coaches around the United States of America who would love it if their team could do that in a season. Have that many at-bats, that many half innings with that kind of production.
Yeah, correction on the ball. Strike count now 2-1 here to Lynch. And the ex-Tiger and Husky, LSU, Washington respectively, now ahead 3-1.
Just off the outside corner, get a good look at Lynch there. Back in her high school days, 2-time Gatorade State Player of the Year for the state of Georgia.
2 on, 2 out. Ground ball up the middle. Bryant from short. The flip to Espinosa at seconds. And the tidal wave strand 2. So some trouble for Dale, but able to wriggle off the hook. Good play at shortstop made by Denver Bryant, who's flashed her leather throughout her rookie season of the WPF. We head to the bottom of the first in a scoreless game here in the official WPF YouTube channel. Making her second appearance of the series and her first start is the former Kansas Jayhawk, Casey Hamilton. Hamilton with the Jayhawks this year, 167 innings pitched that led the Big 12, won 11 games, had a sub 3.5 ERA at 3.40, and struck out more than 100 this season in Lawrence. She faces a really stout Smoke lineup. Looks like this. Silent Rain Espinosa bats leadoff for the 3rd consecutive day. She'll be followed by Morgan Howe and Jazz Hill in the 1st inning. Middle 3rd of the order, Charlotte Eckles, Elizabeth Mason, and Jada Cody. Batters 7 through 9, Samantha Shao, Anna Marie Bruni, and Denver Bryant for an offense that has put up 16 runs so far in the series, and they've only scored in 3 innings. How about that?
Yeah, big innings, though, right? You just chronicled the production the Smoke have been able to put together offensively as of late. And that's how you build a record of 12-1. Score a lot of runs, keep the other team from scoring runs. Pretty simple, huh?
That 12-1 record, by the way, now a 5-game lead for first place over second place, the Texas Monarchs. So the Smoke, again, on a 9-game winning streak, and during this streak, they have a run differential of plus 63. And for the season, they've outscored their opponents 101-34.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good math if you're wearing a Smoke uniform.
And again, as you said, it translates to the record that they have.
Of course, Espinosa playing second base and leading off for the Smoke because her teammate, Janae Jefferson, over at the World Baseball Softball Confederation World Cup Finals in Italy. That'll start on the 15th. U.S., the #1 seed, take on Canada, Italy, and China in the group stage.
And we saw Janae Jefferson chime into the live game chat a couple of days ago. Very much invested in the Smoke back home in the States, with her right now representing the U.S., as Bill said, in Italy.
Another teammate, Also over there for the Smoke, Savannah Jaquish, Team USA. But then for Team Italy, Marta Gasparotto is on the Italian team.
So that is 3 Smoke players, yeah.
And they'll play against each other. They're in the group stage.
Which, isn't foreign, for players of the WPF. Some of these players were teammates together in college, now opponents here in women's professional fast pitch.
Yep, U.S., the number 1 seed, and of course Japan, always good. I mentioned the U.S. will take on Canada. Canada, the 5 seed, going into that tournament. A lot of great softball going on around the world.
Espinoza takes a strike on 3-0 on a pitch she thought was outside. You mentioned Japan, and Team Japan has won the gold medal at the Olympics each of the last 2 Olympic Games, 2008 in Beijing and 2021 in Tokyo. That definitely, ball 4, and Espinoza's on to start the game. And that's going to bring up Morgan Howe, and what a series Howe has had so far for the Smoke. She has homered twice, including a big blast last night in the 9-0 run rule victory. Did not miss that pitch, part of that 7-run second inning for the Texas Smoke. So far, the numbers for Howe in this series, 4 for 7, now 2 homers and 6 RBI.
Yeah, exactly right. Along with that home run, had a 2 RBI single in the second. Howe has shown us all how to hit.
Well done, sir.
Yeah, it's early, but Hamilton's going to have to find a way to command the strike zone, right? Throw strikes, make the Smoke earn it, because walks are what become 2-run home runs and 3-run doubles and those kinds of things. If you're in that circle, you've got to trust your stuff, work with your catcher, and throw strikes.
Howe had kind of a quiet series by her standard against Hub City last week. But a big series so far against the Tidal Wave here. Skies a pop-up just shy of those overcast clouds here in St. Marcus, and the catch made by Rylan Wiggins. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, Wiggins, former Texas A&M Aggie. Speaking of the Aggies, Jazz Hill stands in. These athletes, they have to share scouting reports with their teammates, right? The pitchers on their new teams.
I remember a situation in the first weekend of the season when the Smoke were playing the Monarchs. And, there was, again, a situation of former teammates, now opponents, and a pinch hitter was brought in. Kelly Torres, catcher at Duke, came in with runners on base as a pinch hitter to face off against her former pitching teammate, Jayla Wright. And, of course, Torres, the battery maid. So she knows exactly what she's going to see there, from Jayla Wright. And she jumped on the first pitch and hit a double.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I joked with you. I said, hey, there has to be a post-game text message that's going to go out, right? Good, all in fun, of course. And real quickly, back to the U.S. women's national team over in Italy. Head coach Heather Tarr from the University of Washington. Speaking of Silent Rain Espinoza, but you look at the breakdown, the makeup of that team. 8 of the players formerly with the SEC, 5 Big Ten, 2 Big 12, and 1 ACC.
It's so funny, you list all those conferences off, and I'm looking at the rosters for the entire league, and that sounds familiar.
Right? And you and I have talked throughout the season about the University of Washington and that program. What an honor for Coach Tarr.
In the Women's World Series last year, that's rolled foul by Hill. Looking at simply 1 through 9 of the order here, with the Smoke, I'm going to go 1 through 9 by conference. Pac-12, Pac-12, SEC, SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 12 and SEC, and Samantha Shaw playing at 2 different schools. Anna Marie Broody in the American, the AAC at South Florida, and then there's Denver Bryant, South Carolina, SEC.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and I would think, You know, we talked about Jefferson's over there, Jaquish, Gasparotto, playing with their respective teams at tournament in Italy. But I have to believe there are a lot of teams in or players, excuse me, in the WPF. Their names are in the Rolodexes, the contact list for a lot of organizers in U.S. softball and softball for other countries.
Now looking at both dugouts here. Talked about the Smoke unveiling a new uniform style with the Tidal Wave wearing these threads for the first time as well. That's high. It's 2-2. So I believe we're now up to 6 different uniform combinations we've seen for the Smoke this year.
And they're all sharp, right? It's not like they have 3 or 4 maybe really nice uniforms, then a couple of yawners. They're all sharp. Look at that.
When you saw the highlight of Morgan Howe's homer from yesterday when the Smoke were wearing the all-neon look, those were designed by Brandon Phillips' own daughter.
Huh. The whole family's involved.
Hamilton lost control of that pitch. Again, it's kind of raining right now, a slight drizzle, not a hard rain. Maybe the ball a little slick coming out of Hamilton's hand.
And not just the pitchers. You have to think about it for the fielders as well, especially the outfielders. If you have a ball that's going to be rolling to you as you're charging in, you have to be mindful of your grip as you go to make the throw. But here's that danger zone that we've talked about going through the scouting report. A lot of thump, a lot of hits in this lineup. It's tough when you walk people in front of hitters like Eckles.
Charlie Eckles, lone hit in the series so far, big one. 3-run homer. And yesterday's 9-0 run rule victory.
She has that short, compact swing.
Above the strike zone, 2-0, and now time is called by Michaela Ramos, the catcher.
Eckles in the series 0 for 4, was 0 for 1, walked 3 times in game 1 on Thursday. As you would expect, a player with all kinds of bullet points on her resume. Coming out of Florida, began her career, was all Big Ten freshman team at Michigan State back in 2019. The Gators were glad to have her.
Hamilton comes back with a strike. It is 2-1. Runners at first and second, 1 away in a scoreless game in the bottom of the first. Game 3 of the series, Smoke on top 2-0. Won the opener on Thursday 7-1. Won last night in 5 innings 9-0. This is a pop-up into left coming in, Tate Whitley, and Eckles retired for a huge second out for Hamilton.
Enormous. Eckles a little late there. She always does a great job of letting the ball travel anyway, and she can afford to do that because she has her short stroke there, quick to the ball. But yeah, Hamilton flirting with wiggling off the hook here.
The other series happening this week between Hub City and the Texas Monarchs. That's even so far, 1-1. Strike 1 here to Elizabeth Mason. So the Adelitas, an offensive explosion on Thursday, run-ruled the Monarchs. Their first ever run-rule victory in the history of the franchise, starting, of course, this year. Won 9-1. And then the Monarchs paid them back with a 9-5 win yesterday.
Yeah, you and Haley had a lot of early offense in that game yesterday.
And they're a look at the Adelitas taking some cover right now with the rain in St. Marcus.
It looks like the sun is trying to peek through. Seems like it's brighter than when we first got here.
The wild pitch allows runners to advance. When command and control right now an issue for Hamilton, can't help but think, again, the weather having an impact. It's cost her a couple of walks and now a wild pitch.
Yeah, and it's tough here because with 2 away, when you had runners at first and second, your defense could get an out anywhere. And now options are limited.
Hamilton's 2-1, foul back to the Tidal Wave dugout. It's 2-2 now to Elizabeth Mason. We talked up Eckles and Howe, but Mason herself, a great series, 4 for 5 with a homer and a double so far in 2 games against Coastal Bend.
Yeah, and she's one of the, I'll use the word beneficiaries of the fact that Jaquish is over in Europe, getting the at-bats, and she has come through and then some.
Swing and a miss. Hamilton comes back with a strikeout. And yes, she does, in fact, wriggle off of the hook. Couple of walks in the inning, runner second and third, but no damage done. As Casey Hamilton comes back to strike out Elizabeth Mason. A scoreless first inning, we go to the second. 0-0, Smoke and Tidal Wave. And heading over to the third base's coach's box is Tidal Wave head coach Blake Miller. A lot of experience coaching in the collegiate ranks, about 2 decades worth. And now in his first year with this expansion year, I should say, for the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave, his team trying to pick up its first win of the season against the reigning champion Texas Smoke. No score here in Game 3 of this weekend series as we navigate to the top of the second inning. Julie Jimenez will lead off here against Jordan Dale.
You mentioned Coach Miller, and Coach Miller, Coastal Bend in the same situation as the Texas Monarchs, Hub City Adelitas. In that first season, you're trying to learn each other, trying to understand what everybody can do, what roles they're going to fill, and so many other things. I mean, in the case of 2 of these teams, just getting game uniforms was something you had to check off the box. And you've already said, Brant, the Smoke have like 12 of them. But also the Smoke, you can sense as we watch these games, you know, the comfort and confidence in knowing what your teammates beside you are going to do, can do.
This is the first ever visit for the Tidal Wave to Texas State's Bobcat Softball Stadium. At home the last 2 weekends, they'll be at home the next 2 weekends as well. And they only make one more trip to St. Marcus. It'll be the first week of August when they take on the Texas Monarchs.
And you'll be here for all of it.
Mm-hmm. We have all the coverage of the games for the WPF here in St. Marcus on the official YouTube channel. So, yeah, any game happening this week or happening each week in the WPF here in the Hill Country, we got it for you.
Yeah, I know I'm a little biased, but our team doing a great job bringing WPF action to the masses.
Jimenez lays off, fills the count 3-2.
I was a viewer yesterday. I was a part of the loyal audience.
I was aware because you were texting me during the game about the conversation Haley and I were having at your expense.
Emphasis on expense.
Full count to Jimenez. And that is the second walk given up by Dale. Leadoff batter is on for the first time for the tidal wave. So Jimenez is on also for the first time of the series. And with nobody out, that's going to bring up Rylan Wiggins.
Here we are in the top of the second inning, and combined, we already have 4 free passes. Of course, there was also the error committed by the Smoke in the top of the first. Those free bases we talk about.
Strike one to Wiggins so far for her in the series, 0 for 4 with a walk and a strikeout.
Such a big part of that Texas A&M team this past season, that up the road about 30 minutes at the University of Texas in the Supers gave Texas all they wanted and then some.
The A&M campus not all that far here from Texas State, about 2 hours.
And the state of Texas and the WPF in terms of hometowns of the athletes, the Lone Star State well represented.
Mm-hmm. One of the factoids we gave yesterday, you look at the Coastal Bend roster specifically, 63% of the roster made up of players from either California or Texas, which is not surprising.
It isn't. A lot of great prep college softball played in those states. Another timeout here, visit in the circle. Looks like Shao is going to go down into the Smoke bullpen down in the left field corner. Carter's going to go down there with her.
Kat Tarver, the head coach, having the conversation right now in the circle, and there's Shao's nickname. So let me ask you this. Is it pronounced Shao time or is it Showtime?
It's got to be Showtime, right?
I don't know.
Or do you stay true?
I think you go all in.
You stay true. Showtime.
One, I have to imagine her name has been mispronounced forever.
Yeah.
So just lean into it at this point, right? Showtime.
It's Showtime. You totally flip me.
That ball laced to right field and a base hit for Wiggins. On her way to third base, Jimenez, the throw in, and it is in time for the outs. Morgan Howe doing it with her bat and her arm in the series. A huge play. Erases the lead runner, Jimenez.
Boy, you said it, Brant. Off the bat, it looked like an easy first to third. And Howe had other ideas. Look at her flipper hips there. A low one-hop throw. And on the back end, give credit to Eckles, who had to kind of lay out and make that sweeping tag. And that's about as good as it gets. Unfortunate for the tidal wave, Wiggins wasn't able to trail the play and end up at second.
Only at first base now. Now 1 out in the inning. Rain coming down a little bit harder here. And out of the plate, Michaela Ramos, seeing her for the first time of the series from Riverside, California, and a former Iowa State Cyclone. In there for strike 1-1. Boy, Ramos really exploded. Her final 3 years in Ames as a Cyclone hit .321, belted out 34 homers, and drove in 136 over 3 seasons.
Yeah, Iowa State, another program, doesn't get a lot of publicity, but clearly great players. That program on the rise.
It was something Haley and I discussed yesterday. There are a couple of ex-Cyclones on this team, Ramos and Malaysia Ochoa. Ochoa not in today's starting lineup. But you think about, Big 12 softball, as the 2-1 is taken to the dirt and a good pick by Cody, 3-1. You think first and foremost, not anymore moving forward, but Oklahoma and Texas,
sure.
and after that,
Baylor.
Oklahoma State, Baylor. You don't hear a lot about Iowa State softball unless you're perhaps in the Midwest. But that is a really solid program.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Meanwhile, Ramos is on the second walk given up by Dale of this inning, third of the game. Have to imagine that leash getting shorter here for Jordan Dale.
And how much does that further magnify the play that Howe made? Able to nail the runner trying to advance first to third.
Two on, one away for Grace Chellerman. Top of the order due up. Swing and a miss. Strike one.
Dale's got to find a way to throw strikes because nothing will drive a coach crazier, right, than watching the free passes. Clearly the smoke, the defense is there in support. Put them to work.
0-2 now to Chelleman. 2 for 4 in the series. Has struck out a couple of times. Well, her job here, if she's not going to reach, the out needs to be productive.
Yeah, at minimum.
Give the top of the order a chance to bring in some runs.
Had a couple of hits on Thursday. Would love to have one here. Now, the question you have to ask, though, as you say that, is with Hill in left, Bruni in center, and Howe in right, just because you have a runner at second base, it isn't a foregone conclusion you'll score a run just because the ball reaches grass.
We have seen a few times plays to the plate where the throw was in time, the tag applied, and runners were outs trying to do just that, score from second.
Yeah. Outfield defense has been, at times, breathtaking so far in the 2024 season. This league is stocked with great outfielders.
The accuracy, too, of these throws have been unbelievable. You haven't seen catchers really been taken up either the third or first base line. It really feels like it's around the batter's box.
Right.
Fly ball to left, coming in towards the foul line is Hill. She'll make the catch on the run. Now 2 down of the inning, and the out for Chelleman ultimately not productive.
Hill, with those long legs, covers a lot of ground in getting to that ball. There are a lot of outfielders on planet Earth that wouldn't have even gotten near that thing. And Hill makes it look relatively routine. That was not routine.
Chelleman, though, is back into the game as a pinch runner at first base and placed to Michaela Ramos, as the WPF rules allow. And that will give Ramos a chance to get the gear back on, as Cassie Valdez bats with 2 on and 2 out. Right down the heart of the plate. Nice first pitch there from Dale in the at-bat for strike one.
Yeah, difference between 0-1 and 1-0 in the count can be huge. And looking here now, 2 down. The one advantage the runners do have is with 2 down, kind of get a head start on any ball put in play.
You look at Dale's career at Oregon, 32 wins in her 4 seasons as a Duck, 28 complete games, and over 360 innings for her in the circle. And now coaching in the ACC, an assistant with the Pitt Panthers. That's high, 2-1.
Tidal Wave left 2 on their first at-bat in the first inning. Do not want to duplicate that again, because you have a feeling everybody by now knows that the Smoke offense, they'll get going.
Is this playable? Just not quite. Effort there, though, was there from Howe, sliding in towards the wall there. A long strike, now 2 balls and 2 strikes, and you mentioned leaving runners on. The Tidal Wave have left 8, make it 10 so far in the series, to include the 2 back in the first inning.
Meanwhile, yesterday, the Smoke stranded 1 runner en route to scoring 9 runs.
They don't leave a lot of meat on the bone.
No, they don't. And it seems to me, as I've watched the 2024 season, these big innings we're talking about, it doesn't matter what part of the order Smoke are in as far as getting those innings started. You know, need somebody to get on base before you can put a rally together.
Wild pitch. Rolls to the backstop. Both runners advance. That changes a lot here. Another one of those from Dale would put the Tidal Wave on top. And as Bill has said, too, in the situation, no longer do you have your force outs at first, second, and third.
Right, you get a slow ground ball where you would hope an infielder maybe can go the short way, go the easy way to get a force out, something like that. I have seen that happen, like we all have, hundreds of times.
Full count to Valdez and takes ball 4. Dale struggling to find the strike zone right now. 4th walk of the game, 3rd of the inning. That's going to load him up now for Tate Whitley.
Yeah, I think we might be having a change, Brand, as we look down and Dale just not able to find the strike zone, command the strike zone here.
And she's going to hand the ball off to Samantha Schau. So inherits the bases loaded here. Pitching in the circle for the first time of the series. Samantha Schau from Houston, Texas. Last week made 1 start in the sweep of Hub City. 5 scoreless innings in her Friday start. Also hit a 2-run homer that series. Former Oklahoma State Cowgirl, before that Texas A&M Aggie.
And in a league full of two-way players, and you mentioned this on Thursday, Brant, Samantha Schau, her ability to not only do it in the circle, but also do it with the bat, among the very, very best.
So Kat Tarvin making the change in the circle, a former pitcher herself. And like Schau, a two-way player, in fact, at Kennesaw State. Later at Presbyterian, where she finished her playing career in South Carolina.
And so Coach understands it. Some days, sometimes you take the ball and you just don't have it. I will say this about the Smoke coaching staff, and I think you'll agree, Brant, they don't wait very long before making a change.
All right, so we're calling it Schau time. Samantha Schau to the circle here. Runners at first, second, and third. Rylan Wiggins, the runner, at third base. Grace Chellerman is at second, and now Cassie Valdez at first. The batter here, Tate Whitley.
What do we think of the eye black that the players are sporting?
Is it called black if it's actually black?
Huh? Is it a color or a concept? Schau's got the red going. There's a great look by our team, Whitley.
Those tidal wave colors. Saw her sporting that both yesterday and Thursday as well. That ball up the middle and a base hit. Wiggins is in, rounding third, Chellerman to the plate, and she's going to score. A 2-run double for Tate Whitley. And the tidal wave strike first in this game.
Whitley takes it right back up the middle. Biggest part of the field. Nod your head if you've heard us say that before. It's a tremendous piece of hitting. Whitley had been looking for a big opportunity to come through, and she does there.
So it is the former Ole Miss Rebel. Her first hit of the series, drives in 2. Both runs charged to Dale. And now the batter is Tatum Monzaldo, who arguably has been the best bat for the tidal wave this season.
Whitley had gone 0 for 6 with 2 strikeouts in this series before that knock.
And Monzaldo is ahead 2-0.
We wondered if the wild pitch could maybe come into play here. I think it did there.
That's grounded foul. So that ends a streak of 10 straight scoreless innings for the tidal wave. Before that, the only run they had in the series was the 4th inning, courtesy of Monzaldo with a solo homer against Autumn Pease.
And if you remember that home run, it was a moonshot. And that 1-0 advantage for the tidal wave held up long into that game.
And really, I thought the biggest moment was the top of the 6th inning, bases loaded. Autumn Pease called out. Jessica Mullins came in with the bases juiced and a 2-0 count. Retired the batter, and then the bats came to life in the bottom of the 6th.
Boy, they sure did. 7 runs in the bottom of the 6th for the Smoke after being down 1-0 seemingly forever in that ball game. And Zaldo, her before mentioned solo shot, came in the 4th. But it just seemed like it was one of those games that would just, be 1-0. Everybody drives safe going home. And yeah, Mullins got the big out, and then the offense showed out.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on Zaldo from Whittier, California. All 5 seasons in Berkeley playing for the Cal Golden Bears. Full count from Shao. Swing and a miss, and a strikeout ends the inning. But Tate Whitley's big 2-run base hit has put the Tidal Wave on top early against the champs. 2-run score, we go to the bottom of the second. Smoke looking to respond when we come back from Texas State's Bobcat Softball Stadium. We have talked about the importance of 2-out offense. Well, a huge 2-out base hit here from Tate Whitley. With the bases loaded facing Samantha Shao, drives in 2 on a hit that has been scored as a single. Whitley advanced to second on the throw, but again brought in a couple of runs. And with that, the Tidal Wave has staked an early 2-0 lead over the Texas Smoke.
And you young players, did you see the way Whitley put her nose right on that ball? Talk about watching it, seeing the contact, exactly what Whitley did, and good base running by the Tidal Wave, able to plate the 2 runs. Now it's the job of Hamilton and this defense to try to keep the Smoke at bay. Easier said than done at times.
A quick conversation between Julia Jimenez, the third baseman, and the starting pitcher, Casey Hamilton. And faces Jada Cody for the first time today. And Cody takes a little bit low, ball 1, a ball that had the plate butt just out of the zone. Cody so far in the series, hitless, so for 4 with the walk. She did hit, though, a pretty big homer in Sunday's finale last week against Hub City. Swung on that ball, belted to right center. That's going to get in for a base hit. Cody on her way to second with a leadoff double. And there you go, first hit of the weekend for Jada Cody, a 2-bagger, and a good way for the Smoke to respond here at the bottom of the second.
Nice at bat by Cody. Look at her use her legs. Get into that ball, pitch on the outside third, doesn't try to pull it. If she does, maybe she grounds out to the left side of the infield. Hammers that double. And she did, by the way, I watched her, did a great job of cutting the bag at first base to make the turn to go into second base. Nice job of rounding the base at first.
Cody, UCF's all-time leader in doubles hit. Doubles there. You see her nickname. Got to write that one down too. J-Co. As Samantha Shao steps up, she bats for the first time. It takes ball 1.
For Shao, let's see if her emotion carries into her at bat. When she got the strikeout to end the top of the second inning, she was emphatic in showing her happiness getting out of that inning. Some extra oomph. 2-0's a dangerous count, especially to a power hitter like Shao. 3-0's worse.
Now, really early in the game, nobody out, runner second base, first base is open. I don't think we see green light here as Hamilton is shown that she's struggled finding the strike zone consistently so far in the game. Bat stays in the shoulder, but that is a strike. It is 3-1.
Upper part of the zone. Yeah, still batter's count. Samantha Shao, herself well-traveled professional softball player. Since her days in college, she knows what to do here. She knows the approach.
That ball headed towards center, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Cody's going to stop at third. Shao with a bloop single. 2 on now on the corners and nobody out.
I think Hamilton was able to get that right off the end of the bat by Shao, but enough strength, enough power by Shao to kind of muscle that ball out into center field.
And now the coaching staff going to visit here with Casey Hamilton as she's run into some trouble here. 2 on, nobody out. Anna Marie Bruni coming up here. After that, Denver Bryant, and then the top of the order. And again, you always just kind of feel like that crooked number, big inning is due for the Smoke at any point. It can come at any time, but you feel like they're good for at least one a game. And once you get ducks on the pond, you start to worry a bit if you're the opposing pitcher and defense. Could this be that inning?
I've said to you, and I'm joking, but I said to you, I said sometimes you feel like if you bend over to grab your popcorn or your beverage, you might look up and 3 runs have come in.
Ball went inside to Bruni. And that's the other thing about this situation as well. The bats are good enough. So you cannot afford to give free passes to the Smoke.
It magnifies everything. Solo home runs become 2-run shots. You know, 2, 3-run doubles, etc.
Fly ball to right and backing up to make the catch. Valdez at the warning track. More than deep enough to score. Jada Cody who tags and scores. And Smoke have their first run of the day.
Yeah, Bruni does a nice job, but, you know, get back to your point, my point. Yeah, walks, they turn those 2-run, 1-run innings into 3, 4, 5-run innings. Or in the case of the Smoke with their power, like saw the 3 home runs yesterday, it can be a 7-run inning.
I don't know if Valdez misjudged the ball or the wind carried it a little bit, but it looked like that ball almost dropped in beyond her reach. But did make the play, make the catch to get the out. And out of the plate, Denver Bryant.
Yeah, and where that ball ended up right in front of the warning track, they're not going to get the runner Cody tagging a third coming in anyway, and Shao didn't advance, but your point is still well taken. With runners on as an outfielder, you want to play from behind the ball and through the ball as you're making the catch.
Bryant so far in the series has walked 4 times. 3 of those free tickets came with the opener on Thursday. There was an at-bat for her yesterday, part of that big second inning. The batter in front of her, Anna Marie Bruni, got an infield base hit with 2 outs. Still no scoring to this point. Bryant got ahead 3-0. She swung at 3-0 and 3-1 and took a borderline pitch for ball 4. And it was that at-bat that really kind of helped get things going, as once she reached, it flipped the lineup over. Next thing you knew, 7 runs scored.
Yeah, Bryant has shown a good eye. She had 3 walks on Thursday. She earned 3 walks, the same game in which Eckles was walked 3 times.
Salvadorine Espinoza took a walk in the first inning. Hamilton facing her for a second time and a miss. It is a ball to no strikes. Now for Hamilton, 3 walks in the game. Both starting pitchers having issues with the strike zone.
Yeah, command, command, command. Pitching coaches yell out there. Trust your stuff.
1 ball, 1 strike to Espinoza.
You know, a hard single, it's better for your defense, your teammates behind you. Sometime then a walk. Sometimes, you know, if you're not throwing strikes, your defensive teammates can kind of get lulled to sleep.
That ball off the glove of the second baseman Wiggins into right for a base hit. Shao running third, and she's going to score. Espinosa drives in 2. And the Smoke, just like that, grabbed the lead.
Nice piece of hitting, and Wiggins, you talk about almost. Just another inch or so, Wiggins makes the play. That's how close the game of softball is. A game of inches, literally.
And a big part in the single run scoring there, not 2. So the game is tied. Shaw scoring the tying run. Bryant stopping at third. Espinosa on the throw advances to second. Now Morgan Howe comes up. The bat's getting bigger here for the Smoke.
Of course, Espinosa had the big 3 RBI double in the win on Thursday.
Strike 1 inside.
And here's where the Smoke gets you. Because first base open, your first thought is, oh, put Howe on, pitch around her, and then you look at the on-deck circle.
That ball sails all the way to the backstop, play the plate, runners out. How about Michaela Ramos? Got that ball in a hurry, able to tag out Bryant. We're able to get her out on the throw to the pitcher, Hamilton, who did tag her out. Both pitcher and catcher doing their jobs.
Exactly right, and it all starts with, as you described, and we'll get a great look at it again. Look at Ramos, gets back to it quickly, but also Hamilton vacates the circle, covers home about as quickly as you can get it done.
And now Howe rolls one to Wiggins from her knees, makes the play. So the Smoke score twice, but settle for the 2 runs. So a huge defensive play for the Tidal Wave, able to keep this a tie game. We head to the 3rd inning. Each team a 2-run second, and now the score is 2-2. Back out in San Marcos, Kat Tarver's team a response in the bottom of the 2nd inning. The Smoke gave up 2 at the top of the 2nd. Her team comes back and scores twice themselves. A sac fly from Anna Marie Bruni and an RBI base hit from Silent Rain Espinosa. And with that, it is a 2-2 game as we head to the top of the 3rd inning.
But what about Coastal Bend limiting the damage?
Again, you go back to that great play on a wild pitch. But again, Hamilton threw it so hard it bounced fortuitously right back to Michaela Ramos. Able to get it back to Hamilton for the tag of Bryant at the plate to keep it a tie game. And then able to induce the ground out of Howe thereafter.
Yeah, I put a star next to that play. I mean, we don't know how this game is going to play out. That could prove to be very important. Because the Smoke, you said it yourself, Brant, that inning was kind of building to be the type of half inning we've seen from the Smoke offensively as of late.
Leadoff batter, Trinity Cannon. Swung on the ground at third. Eckles, a great backhand, and the throw to first base is on target. Charlotte Eckles, underrated defensive third baseman, A solid play to start the inning.
Hot corner. That, fans, is why they call it hot corner. Not a lot of time to react. And Eckles able to go to the backhand and then make an accurate throw.
Everything that Eckles does with her bat really grabs your attention. We've seen the home runs and the RBI numbers, again, so impressive. But at Florida, she was one of the top defensive third basemen of the country, and we've seen those style of plays so far in her games played here in San Marcos.
And I'm trying to think back. I don't know that we've seen anything but a strong, accurate throw from her from third base to first. There's a good look at the former Florida Gator.
We've seen a lot of good third basemen in the league so far. Vanderford for the Monarchs, Eckles for the Smoke. For Hub City, Emily Bracamonte, who was a veteran third baseman at Toledo, and here for the Tidal Wave, Julie Jimenez. 3 balls, no strikes to Kelly Lynch. And Shao able to fire in a strike on the inner half, but it's 3-1.
Get a good look at Samantha Shao there, and you know, one thing about Shao, like all taller pitchers, is when she strides, if you're a batter, it's almost as though the pitcher is releasing the ball from right in front of home plate. You think back, one of your broadcast partners, Kat Osterman. You know, you watch Kat pitch, and with her stride, you know, again, Abbott is another one comes to mind.
Swing and a miss from 3-0 to a strikeout for Shao. That's her second in relief. And now 2 outs here in the top of the third. The rise ball exploding up in the zone. Lynch couldn't catch up. And Shao has her second punch out. Nobody on to wait for Julie Jimenez. On the topic of great defensive plays, Jimenez was gunned down at third base on a tremendous outfield throw from Morgan Howe and right.
Yeah, threw an absolute BB to Eckles at third base. But I'll go back and repeat what I said then. Eckles did a nice job of when she was receiving the ball. She had to kind of lay out and make a sweeping tag because Jimenez was trying to go to the back of the bag as you're taught as a base runner. And Eckles said, "Oh, no, you don't. That door is not open."
Nightcap tonight between the Monarchs and Adelitas, game 3 of that series. Again, so far it has been 1-1. Adelitas winning on Thursday in a run rule 9-1. Monarchs got the payback win yesterday to open up the Friday doubleheader. Now 3-0 to Jimenez. And that's high for ball 4. So Jimenez a couple of free tickets to first base in this game. A 2-out base runner will bring up Rylan Wiggins.
Yeah, the walks continue here as you look so far. 5 walks issued by Smoke pitchers, and Hamilton on the other side. She's given up 3 free passes. If my math is right, that's combined 8 walks so far, and we're here in the top of the 3rd inning.
And again, you can't help but think that the rain has had an impact on that as Eckles vacuums up another. Throws out Wiggins at first base. So how about the infield defense at third from Charla Eckles here in the 3rd inning? Couple of nice picks and good throws to first base. And on this defensive play, we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Still tied 2-2 here in San Marcos. Heading into the bottom of the third inning on this overcast, rainy and wet Saturday afternoon, turning into the evening. A 2-2 game between the Texas Smoke and the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave. Brant Freeman alongside Bill Culhane. Glad to have you with us on the official WPF YouTube channel. The fourth week of the season. By week's end, we will have hit the halfway point of the 2024 year, the second in the history of women's professional fast pitch.
Brant, you and I have each been in this area for a long time. I'm not going to age us, but I'll say this. Right now, temperatures in the low 80s. If there wasn't this cloud cover and kind of dark skies, it could be 99 degrees right now.
It could be.
So I'm not going to complain. I won't complain a whole bunch about a little bit of cloud cover up above with some rain mixed in.
Jazz Hill leads off the third for the reigning champion Texas Smoke, winners of 9 straight. Just one blemish all year. A Sunday loss, week 1 of the season to the Texas Monarchs. You look at the WPF standings, each team 13 games in. The Smoke in first place at 12-1. In second place, 5 games back, are the Monarchs at 7-6. Hill lines one to Wiggins on a short hop fields and takes care of the throw to first base for out number 1. That's going to bring up Charlotte Eckles. Now, we mentioned home run balls yesterday. Well, Eckles had one of her own, a massive 3-run shot opposite way to deep left center.
And she crushed it. Look at it. Talk about putting your nose on the ball. I said earlier, and quick path to the ball. And that ball was quickly gone. Over that tent out there in left center, that's a shot.
You cannot leave a ball elevated in the strike zone for Eckles, or she's going to do just that.
By the way, for you Texas A&M fans, yep, you're right, that previous out, Hill grounded out to her former teammate Wiggins.
That ball drilled right field, and that is gone. Right on cue, Charlotte Eckles, another homer in the series, this time pull side. And the Smoke had their first lead of the game.
As their teammates await her at home plate. And again, there's some batters, you know, they had that long load, maybe a long stride, maybe a long leg kick. Look at Eckles. That front foot, up, down, swing, boom. Because of that quick stroke, she doesn't have to take a lot of time to get bat to ball, and so she can let that ball travel a little more. She can see it a little better. And she knows what to do.
Second homer of the series for Eckles. And the Smoke once down 2-0, now have claimed a 3-2 lead, and it brings up Elizabeth Mason as one of the homers for the Smoke in this weekend series as well. Was talking about the WPF standings. In third place, the Tidal Wave at 4-9. They're 3 back of the Monarchs for seconds. Hub City at 3-10, and they are 4 back of second place. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Can I make a confession on Eckles' homer?
Okay.
Off the bat, I had a brief moment. It wasn't like seconds, right? Because that ball didn't take long to get out. But I almost wondered, will that ball be high enough to get out of here? Or is it just going to pound the wall?
I thought the same. We've seen a lot of balls hit like that this weekend. The ball just seems to be flying off the bat. And there have been a lot of near misses for hitters, settling for doubles or triples instead of a home run. Paints the corner, 2-2.
There is a little bit of a breeze blowing out towards center. I think you saw it in an earlier shot. It's only about 5 to 8 miles per hour today coming out of the south. There's a good look at it there. Look at the flags, and that shot by Eckles didn't need any help from Mother Nature.
No, I think in most conditions it's out anyway.
Yeah. The ball wasn't in the air long enough for many elements to impact it, influence it.
Full count to Elizabeth Mason. Jada Cody awaiting on deck. That's rolled foul by Mason. at the plate here, batting for the second time. Struck out against Hamilton in her first appearance. Mason from Tampa, Florida. And played her college softball at Florida State. One of the top hitters in the history of the Seminole program. So how about that in the order? You go from a Gator to a Seminole.
I'm sure they've put all that stuff behind them, right?
I would think so. Mason. And that's a nice catch over at shortstop made by Anzaldo. Kind of snow coated that one. And Mason's 0 for 2 after a nice play at shortstop.
Yeah, still, Mason's had a nice series filling in for Jay Quish while she's over in Italy with her Team USA teammates getting ready for the tournament starting on July 15th. Want to encourage everybody to go to Team USA's website, follow the team. Obviously, the WPF well represented. What's going on there? What do we say in the group stage? The U.S. is going to be taking on Canada, Italy, and China. And then the winners from the groups will, of course, advance to the semifinals and then ultimately the championship over in Italy. That's a trip that I would take with Team USA. If they asked me to go along, Italy.
You would tag along for that one?
I would go.
Sure?
Sure. If somebody wants to give me a phone call.
You spent some time in Europe during your military days.
Didn't make it to Italy, much to my chagrin. And if I had to do it all over again, yeah, I was in England and never made it over to Italy. Was always going to do it, you know, the next trip, a few months down the road, and then next thing I knew, I was back in the U.S.
Wiggins from second base. And after the homer hit by Eckles, Hamilton retires the next two batters. But Charlotte Eckles has given the Smoke the lead. A solo bomb, her second home run of the series. And with that, the Champs have a 3-2 lead over Coastal Bend. We head to the fourth inning from St. Marcus. Back after this in a moment. This is the third inning of relief for Samantha Shao. Came into the game in the second, has since struck out a couple of batters, and has held the tidal wave scoreless in her time in the circle, although they did tag Jordan Dale, the starter, for a couple of runs. However, the Smoke now have a 3-2 lead, courtesy of Charlotte Eccles' homer in the bottom of the third inning. Top of the fourth we go, 3-2 game coming up for Coastal Bend. Michaela Ramos, Grace Chellerman, and Cassie Valdez here in the road half of the fourth inning.
One thing, and I'm curious to see how the rest of this afternoon into the evening goes.
Chopper to Bryant's. Shortstop makes a play, as does Mason at first. A nice pick, and there's one down.
Yeah, good stretch over there by Mason. But the point I was going to make is what we've seen from Samantha Shao and softball fans have seen from her is when she's pitching from behind or the game's tied, there's a certain mindset. I'm curious to see, now that she has the lead, will that bulldog fighter mentality even rise more? Yeah, the smell of blood in the water.
Facing Chellerman here for the first time. Base is empty, one away, and we've seen that Bulldog mentality from Xiao a few times over. In her time this season of the WPF, where the most memorable performance I can recall was when she tossed the final 9 innings of that 13-inning marathon against the Monarchs on opening weekend. Ball headed towards left field, deep, and on the run, the catch made. Jazz Hill, the concentration to make that play. Wow.
I thought you only had trick shots at the pool hall. Jazz Hill. Talk about concentration and presence of mind and situational awareness and all of that. Jazz Hill. Jazz Hill says, top that.
Ball that popped out of her glove, able to get it back with the webbing. Playing at a kind of a foreign ballpark. Yes, she has been here before, but not enough to be that familiar with the architecture and, the dimensions and know where the wall is going to be. But it looks like she's been here forever making a play like that.
And let's add these little pieces, right? Kind of a breeze blowing. You have sprinkles of rain coming down. She's looking back up into it. Yeah, that one's going to make somebody's highlight reel, right?
Well, the corner outfielders in this game. Morgan Howe, that great throw to gun down Jimenez at third, and then the catch from Hill, and now the strikeout from Xiao. And the Smoke right now, they're rolling. Xiao has grabbed the lead and retires the tidal wave in order in the 4th inning. Smoke looking for more offense when we return here in the official WPF YouTube channel. The fans trying to stay dry. Maybe not those fans as they're not sitting underneath the cover here. Some choosing to, why not, hang out in the rain on this rain-soaked Saturday nights. There's some of the fans who have taken some cover.
Kids don't care if they get wet, right?
Not all.
Young kids.
And there's Smoke team owner Brandon Phillips has been here all weekend long. And his team is on top 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning.
Brandon Phillips has had a lot to celebrate. His Smoke winning and also a birthday earlier this month.
And Peter Vives, the photog here as well. Come rain or shine, he's going to be snapping photos of the ballpark. Samantha Xiao, first pitch, attacks it, deep to right, belted, gone. Samantha Xiao going deep. Second homer of the day for the reigning champion, Texas Smoke, and now on top 4-2.
That ball was up in the air for a while. What a way to start half inning and help yourself at the same time. As Samantha Xiao goes through the teammate tunnel there. Boy, talk about power, right? Strength to take that ball that's down in the zone. Didn't get all of it, but didn't have to get all of it.
Well, it is in fact Xiao time. Pitching well to circle, doing it with her bat, her second hit of the day. 4-2. Smoke have scored 4 and answered. Anna Marie Bruni takes ball 1, facing Casey Hamilton here. Hamilton so far in the circle for the tidal wave, 3 innings. All the runs she's given up have been earned. Just one strikeout and 3 walks.
There goes the train rumbling by. Don't they know that Samantha Shao already delivered?
Fair enough.
There it goes. There she went.
First train of the day here in San Marcos, at least first on the broadcast. I'm sure not the first of the actual day.
No, this is San Marcos, train capital of the USA.
It's probably the 18th of the day so far.
Probably. Jimenez, being respectful of the fact that Bruni can handle the bat, has tremendous wheels. So she's in at third, of course. Here's a look at it. See all the infield in. Smoke can do it in a number of ways. And that's the thing, right? Smoke offensively, home runs get everybody's attention. But Smoke can do it small ball.
Full count from Hamilton. Denver Bryant awaits on deck. Again, 2 homers in the game now with the Smoke. Both have been solo shots. That's the one silver lining here for the tidal wave. Both homers have come with the bases empty as Bruni goes down swinging. And that the second strikeout of the evening for Casey Hamilton. And the first out here in the 4th.
Yeah, nice job by Hamilton after giving up the leadoff home run. Getting right back on the rubber. Nice pitch there. See, Bruni tried to put the brakes on the swing, but clearly committed. And you bring up an excellent point there, Brant, and we've touched on it a couple of times with the fact that how walks can be devastating or errors can be devastating if they happen in front of those long balls.
Well, the homers that we saw the Smoke hit yesterday, Eckles' home run was a 3-run shot in the game. There was a 2-run homer hit by Morgan Howe 2 batters in to the game yesterday. A 2-run homer hit in the opener as well on Thursday from Morgan Howe. So, yeah, for, the Smoke, but majority of their long balls have been with runners on base.
And those are the ones that really get your attention, and they really hurt if you're in the opposing dugout. I mean, think about our friends over on the MLB side, right? What's the approach when Aaron Judge is coming up or a guy like Gunnar Henderson? You don't want to have people on base when those guys are up. Solo home run, you don't want it to happen, but you'd much prefer it.
2 balls, 1 strike to Bryant. Swung on, and that's headed to the glove with the shortstop on Zondo. Kind of a soft liner. Plenty of time to track it down behind the second base bag. And now 2 outs for Hamilton here in the 4th.
Nice adjustment by Anzaldo, the shortstop, because off the bat, I think Anzaldo, like a lot of us, thought that Bryant got more of that. And then Anzaldo was able to read ball off bat, make the adjustment, and make the running catch.
Big shoes to fill this weekend for Silent Rain Espinosa. Not only at second base in place of today Jefferson, but has also taken Jefferson's spot of the order. Jefferson had been the Smokes' leadoff batter for a bulk of the season, with the exception of 2 weeks, both times with the U.S. national team, but Espinosa has held her own so far.
She sure has, and then some. Now, does that mean that the Smoke haven't noticed that Janae Jefferson isn't here? No, we're not saying that. But Espinosa is doing what all athletes are asked to do at some point and often, and that is to step up. Do a little bit more than maybe you expect of yourself or your teammates expect of you.
Hamilton drops to the strike, now facing the lineup a 3rd time through. Don't see any activity right now in that Tidal Wave bullpen. Yesterday, the Tidal Wave went with Haley Archer. All 4 innings of what was a run rule game. On the ground and through the right side for a hit for Espinosa. 3 at-bats, she's been on base all 3 times.
I think she heard you talking, Brant. Silent Rain Espinosa. A leg kick there, and nice job just pulling that through the 3-4 hole.
So Espinosa, again, the leadoff batter of the entire series for the Smoke. The way the game opened yesterday for the Smoke in their 9-0 run rule victory, Espinoza led the game off with a base hit. Morgan Howe came up and homered off of Archer. It was a tone-setting swing for that game as the Smoke went on to win 9-0.
I think I said it on Thursday, how if she has a business card on it, it says professional hitter.
You know, I wonder how many of the players in this lineup have a similar business card.
Yeah. But just watching how, and I'm not just talking about what she does in the batter's box, but just watching her approach, even in the on-deck circle. She has a plan, and she's able to execute that plan very, very well.
Rolls one to the shortstop. Anzondo makes a short throw to Wiggins at second, and that's it for the fourth inning. But Samantha Shao with a leadoff home run. Second homer of the game for the Texas Smoke. And Shao has put her team on top 4-2. We head to the fifth inning, a 2-run lead for team playing for its 10th straight win. We're back after this from San Marcos. Four innings in the books. We head to the fifth in a 4-2 game. Smoke on top of the tidal wave. Brant Freeman with Bill Culhane with you on this rain-soaked Saturday night game one of a doubleheader. Coming up later, the Hub City Adelitas facing off against the Texas Monarchs. A 4-team WPF this year, and three of the franchises, expansion franchises, to include those two, and Coastal Bend, the only returning franchise, last year's champion, the Smoke. And looking every bit the part this year, out to a 12-1 starts, and enter tonight's game having won 9 in a row.
And the reason the game right now is 4-2 is because the batter in the left-handed batter's box right now, Whitley, with that big 2-out, 2-run RBI single back in the second inning that at the time gave Coastal Bend a 2-0 advantage.
And it was short-lived. Smoke responded with 2 runs in the bottom of the second. And they've scored in each of the last 2 innings, both times on solo home runs hit by Charlotte Eckles and the pitcher in the circle, Samantha Shao.
Samantha Shao's been a two-way player for a long, long time, so I know she understands it. But in terms of confidence, you know, just this last half inning, her at-bat, home run, and now she's in the circle, feeling good about herself. And speaking of feeling good, what about Whitley taking that ball right back through the box? Looked very similar to her RBI single back in the second. She was the first batter Shao faced coming into the game.
Whitley is the only batter that's gotten a hit off of Shao since she came in the second. Leadoff single, and just like that, the tying run comes up here for Coastal Bend. It's Tatum Anzaldo, 0-for-2 with a strikeout so far today.
She homered on Thursday.
Runner goes to left field, and Hill makes the catch. This time didn't juggle out of her glove. And the throw back in will retreat Whitley right back to first base.
Boy, and that's the cruelty of bat and ball sports, is you can absolutely nail a pitch, barrel it up, and it finds a glove, and then another at bat, it can hit off your knuckles and bloop into the outfield for a base hit.
It's been a very interesting series between these two, not talking about just this week, but when they played each other a couple of weeks ago in Robstown. So half the games have been really competitive, and the other half have been blowouts in favor of the Smoke. This game has been competitive so far, a 2-run affair as the Tidal Wave bat in the 5th inning.
But what's the common denominator in all of those outcomes?
The Smoke have won.
The Smoke have won. And that's what championship teams do. They find a way to win.
Well, that rain coming down even harder now. And it feels as if that wet ball has certainly had an impact on the pitching today. You also wonder how it's going to affect infield play.
And good point. And think as the night goes along, as we get into the second game, will there be pivotal play impacted by Mother Nature? This field drains very well, stands up very well to precipitation. So it'll be playable for a long while.
That ball on the ground, and that's a base hit for Trinity Cannon. So Cannon with her first hit of the game, and the tying run is on base now with only one out.
Yeah, look at that. Using her legs to get into it. And in our crowd mic, you might have heard the Texas A&M fans in the stands here. They got excited. Former Aggie with a base knock.
And for Cannon's second hit of the series, so there are those Aggie fans. Pretty easy to spot in the stands right now. I will say, though, whenever the Aggies come to play the Bobcats, harder to find them.
Yeah, maroon, a lot of maroon.
Kelly Lynch, 2 on, 1 out. Swung on center field, and Bruni, well positioned, makes the catch. That's twice in the inning. A ball coming off the bat. Looked really good, but right to one of those Smoke fielders.
Yeah, we've all seen and heard similar conversations many times, but I was listening to a former major leaguer talk the other night, a video, and he talked about what we know. You know, you fail 7 out of 10 times and you're considered a really good player. You have to have that ability to flush the bad stuff and move on to the next pitch, the next play. You and I have heard Paul Goldschmidt talk about how that changed his career path. Just that mindset of being able to forget, you know, learn from mistakes or situations, but you can't let it pile up. You can't let it snowball. You can't let it overcome you.
And, of course, Goldschmidt plays college baseball right here in San Marcos at the ballpark just behind first base. Swung on, ground ball under the glove of Espinosa. Running third, Whitley to the plate. She's going to score. It is a 1-run game. Julia Jimenez, a huge 2-out base hit. And now it's 4-3.
Another really nice piece of hitting. Jimenez pulls her hands in, takes that pitch the other way, and as an infielder with a runner in scoring position, you're taught to knock the ball down. Don't let the ball get through the infield to the outfield. There, it would have been a great play by Espinosa to come up with it, but because she got just enough of her glove on it to slow it down, that, in my opinion, allowed the runner to make that turn at third and come in to score without a throw. If that ball gets immediately to Howe in right field, we've already seen what Howe can do with her arm.
So Whitley into score. It's 4-3. Tying run now at third. Over at first base, Jimenez. Now to the plate, Wiggins. Swung on and fouled away for strike one.
What does this say about Coastal Bend and their mindset that they continue to fight? Had the 2-0 lead, as Brandt said, it was gone in the blink of an eye. And then Eckles and Shao in back-to-back innings go over the wall, and Coastal Bend could have said, not our day again today. We're taking on the champs. Oh, no. No activity down in that Smoke bullpen.
And plenty of arms available, by the way, with the Smoke. Estelle Check, Autumn Pease, Jessica Mullins, even Jayla Ryan, who pitched yesterday, could go again. 1 ball, 1 strike. In there for strike 2.
Yeah, Wright had I'm not going to say she had an easy afternoon. Nothing about this is easy, but in terms of pressure pitches that she had to make, I mean, got that early 9-0 lead and didn't have a lot of pitches under stress in yesterday's outing.
Wiggins lays off. Borderline pitch. You knew she thought about it. The ball started, the back started to come off the shoulder just a little bit, but Wiggins able to hold up.
Yeah, that pitch rode right off the inside corner. That was a really good take by Wiggins.
A chance here to tie the game. Runner at third base, another at first. 2-2 on the ground of the shortstop. Bryant going to be a tough play, and it is made. Denver Bryant's. Another solid play at shortstop for the Texas Smoke, preserving this lead for now. On this throw to the first baseman, we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. 4-3 Smoke over the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave. New pitcher into the game, but not new to the game. That's Casey Valdez starting in the outfield today for the Coastal Bend Tidal Wave. Now finds herself with a circle, trying to keep this a 1-run game. Moments ago in the top of the 4th inning, big 2-out base hit from Julie Jimenez. Cut the lead in half. It's now 4-3 as Valdez takes over. And again, Valdez pitched really well in the opener on Thursday, provided 4 scoreless innings, and gave her team a chance.
Yeah, she sure did. The biggest one, right, is 0 runs given up. Did issue 3 walks, no strikeouts. So she pitched to contact, but also we know this. The Smoke, the batters on this team don't strike out a lot. So you're going to have to make plays defensively, and that'll have to be the case here for the Tidal Wave with already trailing by a run. Now you're getting to the latter stages of the game where you can't tell yourself, well, we have time. We'll do it next at-bat because you're running out of at-bats.
Jazz Hill leads off the bottom of the 5th. First pitch is out of the zone, a little up there from Valdez, ball 1. So Casey Hamilton gives Coastal Bend 4 innings. Gives up 4 runs, all earned off 6 hits, and strikes out 2. That drops in for a strike. Jazzville so far today, 0 for 1 with a walk. Eckles, Mason also due to hits. Jazzville in her final college season with the Adelitas in attendance, ready for their game coming up against the Monarchs. Hill with the Aggies this year, .321 hitter. Only season at Texas A&M. That's fouled away. Evens a count at 2-2. Of course, before that, 4 years in Tempe at Arizona State. Hill, 9 homers, drove in 41. And what was really impressive, her plate discipline. Drew 42 walks this year, only struck out 21 times.
As Hill plays here in San Marcos, that pitch down and in, plays here in San Marcos. Of course, Texas A&M beat Texas State in the College Station Regional Championship Sunday to advance to the Supers.
Here's a ball hit well, right center field, and there it goes. Jazz Hill, a solo shot of her own. And back to a 2-run lead for the Texas Smoke.
Power on display by the Smoke. 3 home runs yesterday in the win. So far today, 3 home runs as again the teammate tunnel getting ready for Hill. We've seen her do it with the glove out there in left field, and here goes down and gets it. And kind of golfs it out of here, showing her power. And the outfielders, by the way, for the tidal wave, you might have picked it up in the shot there. They knew it. They knew it was gone. Go back to last half inning for the tidal wave. It felt like Coastal Bend, to get that run, had to scratch and claw and fight 3 hits to get a run. Jazz Hill walks up and says, watch this.
Yeah. Of the 5 runs now, 3 solo homers.
That's the, I guess that's the good news for the tidal wave.
It feels like, some offenses you see can only beat you in one way. Is that with speed? Is it by piecing together hits, great singles and doubles hitting team, one that can advance and manufacture runners across the bases? Is it a power hitting team that has to have that 3-run homer to beat you? For the Smoke, you see that multiple choice, all the above, that's what you're filling in.
Yeah. A big reason that right now is Eckles, don't see her strike out very often. Big reason the Smoke right now are 12-1 on the year. Because of the diversification in the offense and what they do in the circle, and defensively, I think what we've seen speaks for itself.
The strikeout of Eckles, first out here in the 5th. It's going to bring up Elizabeth Mason. And a strike delivered there by Valdez.
The Smoke have 7 hits today, but 3 of them have gone over the fence.
Discussed Valdez earlier in the week. Played her college softball at Our Lady of the Lake, an NAIA program out of San Antonio, but before that, 2 years here at Texas State for Ricky Woodard. That is strike 3. On 3 pitches, Mason goes down. So how about Valdez? Gives up the homer to Hill on 2 strikes. Has battled back to strike out Eckles and Mason.
It's what we saw Hamilton do today. So tip of the cap to them. Able to bounce back and move on to that next pitch. Having that understanding that, guess what? You're not going to be able to change what just happened.
To put it lightly, I don't think Mason agreed with that strike call, by the way.
I don't. So you're reading body language, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
A pretty easy tell there for Mason.
Yeah, I think some of the umpires in the stands didn't like it either, folks wearing Smoke gear.
Cody with a fly ball, right center, long run. Chellerman looks, and that is gone. Boy, what has gotten into the Texas Smoke today? 4th home run of the game. And a 6-3 lead.
And the 4th solo shot by the Smoke. This has been, I'm going to say it, I apologize. This has been a weird inning. Home run, strikeout against an offense where the batters don't strike out hardly ever, and then another home run.
And both homers hit in the opposite field, too.
Almost identical spot out there in right center. Cody's home run might have fallen in the divot of Hill's home run.
So it's been Eckles, Shao, Hill, Cody. We've all gone deep. Here is Shao and takes ball one from Valdez.
Who were the home run hitters yesterday?
Eckles, Howe, both homered for the Smoke, along with Mason.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not a player. It's not two players. You know, that you can pitch around, thinking, okay, we can avoid the power if we, 3-hole, 4-hole, or 4-hole, 5-hole. If we just don't let them hit it out, we're okay in terms of giving up the long ball.
6 different players now for the Smoke have homered in the series.
So who do you pitch around?
2 of them have gone deep twice, Howe and Eckles.
Yeah. The difference is, and we can look at this inning alone, the tidal wave, tip of the cap to them. They were trailing, but took 3 hits to score a run. The Smoke have 2 hits this inning, and they played it 2.
And Shaw draws a walk with 2 outs. And 2's off for the 3rd time. 6-3 game with the bottom of the 5th inning. Again, you stress the importance, if you're the tidal wave pitchers, to, attack the strike zone. But then when they're hitting homers, you say to yourself, well, what do we do? It means you have to live with the corners and have to hope that the strike zone allows for that from a home plate umpire as well. You don't get those calls, not saying that those pitches were close to Shao. Those were well out of the zone. But if you don't get those calls, you cannot paint the corners. It becomes extremely difficult to pitch to this team.
Yeah, and you've got to change speeds as well, because hitting is timing. Pitching is the disruption of timing. And so you've got to get these batters off their pitch. You've got to stick to the scouting report. If scouting report says pitch X player in, X batter in, you've got to hit your spots. If it says stay away from X player, you have to be able to execute your pitches.
Kelly Gooden pinch hitting here for Anna Marie Bruni. First time we've seen Gooden bat in the series. Did come in as a pinch runner in the opener on Thursday. From Seal Beach, California. Former Pac-12 batting champion at UCLA. And on 3 pitches, she strikes out. So Bill said it, a weird inning. Cassie Valdez strikes out 3 in the frame, but also gives up a couple of homers. Jazz Hill, her first home of the series, followed by Jada Cody, going deep herself. The 2 bombs has given the Smoke a 6-3 lead. We head to the 6th inning, and you're watching Women's Pro Fast Pitch on the official WPF YouTube channel. We're back after this. 5 innings down, 2 to go, and Samantha Shao and the Texas Smoke have a 6-3 lead. Big story of the game has been the offense for the Smoke. Of the 6 runs, they have scored 4 courtesy of solo homers from 4 different players. 2 more hit in the bottom of the 5th, now making it a 3-run game. Swing and a miss here by Michaela Ramos. Falls behind, 0-1. Those 2 homers came after we saw the tidal wave scratch across a run at the top of the 5th to make it a 1-run game. But Bill said it, after all that effort to get the 1, 2 big swings, now make it a 3-run game.
In an inning in which your pitcher struck out 3. The Smoke offensively had 3 strikeouts yesterday, as in the game. So, yeah, never know what you're going to see when you come to the ballpark or check out the WPF on YouTube.
Fly ball to foul territory. Eckles and Hill on the run, and Hill makes the catch. A couple of great catches for her in foul territory today. How about that?
Yeah, actually 3. I think up to 3. She had the one where she did the trick shot, the bobble act as she was crashing into the wall in the corner. Now 2 when she's on a dead sprint headed towards that short railing beyond the third base dugout. Great look at it there. And yeah, the added one there is she had Bryant and Eckles coming at her teammates converging.
Now the 9-hole hitter, Grace Chelleman, takes strike 1. Chelleman 0 for 2 with a couple of flyouts today. So far for Coastal Bend, 3 runs off 5 hits. No errors committed. They have left 7 on. Swing and a miss, strike 2. With the Smoke, 6 runs on 8 hits. 1 error, they've left 5.
I'm not sure we'll get a look at the scoreboard, the runs by inning. But one thing the Smoke don't have today is that 7, 8, 10-run inning that, as Brant pointed out, we've seen quite a bit from the Smoke over the past few weeks, month. What's that phrase you use? It's been death by 1,000 cuts.
Paper cuts, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, though, when you say that. I think singles and bunts and sacrifices to do that, not solo homers, it doesn't feel like a paper cut, right?
Yeah, well.
But it only brings in a run at a time.
Yeah. Just like the tidal wave, it took them 3 hits to do.
Yeah. Elevated pitch, 3-2. The count fills. Top of the order coming up for the tidal wave.
Good take there by Chettleman.
Coastal Men have lost 3 in a row.
That pitch stayed up out of the zone. Chettleman watches it go by.
Fly ball to center, on the run, Bruni, and that is going to go. Grace Chelleman playing some long ball today. Boy, the ball is just flying off the bats here in St. Marcus.
Big celebration at home plate. You love it, right? We're about 30 minutes, and that's driving from Austin Bergstrom Airport. But I think somebody needs to call air traffic control there and say, hey, be on the lookout. Because you said it, man. Balls are flying. Off the bat, be honest with me.
No, look, Chelleman certainly got
Sure.
a lot of the pitch
yeah.
to clear the fence, but off the bat,
Yeah.
you kind of thought it was going to be catchable for Bruni, maybe at the warning track. But today, the ball is just creeping over the fence. Not every one of the homers, we've now seen 5 in the game, and again, all have been solo homers. Not every one did you think was going to clear.
I'm telling you, sports fans out there in YouTube land, Sarah Vanderford for the Monarchs and Daisy Munoz for the Adelitas, they're watching this right now, and they're licking their chops.
Well, those 2 teams, again, were really offensive yesterday with the home run ball. The Adelitas, of course, had 3 homers in Thursday's opener. And yesterday hit a couple of home runs. Reboledo and Munoz hitting homers for a second consecutive day as Valdez strikes out for the second time this afternoon. And then for the Monarchs, Brookshire, Vanderford, and Piper all went deep.
Yeah, I forgot about Piper. Piper's sitting around here somewhere getting ready for the game, and she's probably licking her chops thinking, the balls are sailing out of here.
Bases empty and 2 away now for Tate Whitley. 2-run game here in the 6th inning. Still a lot to be decided. Whitley's had a good day. A 2-run single to second. Also had a base hit and scored a run to the 5th.
You and I have done games before. We've done a lot of games together, but games before where there have been 5 home runs, maybe even 5 solo shots, home runs. Maybe I'd really have to think about it, but it is strange in this respect. In a game in which there have been so many walks, that the 5 home runs have all been solo shots. That's what's getting to me.
Yeah, if you said all that information, there have been a number of walks as Whitley pieces together another base hit here against Samantha Shao. 3rd hit of the day, all against Shao. All those walks, all those home runs, but only 10 runs have scored. Wouldn't believe you.
Wouldn't have believed it. Every time you come to the park, you just never know what you're going to see. And what I do see now is if anybody in this tidal wave batting order has some pop in her bat, it's who you see standing in the left-handed batter's box right now.
Tatum Anzondo represents a tying run. Bullpen is active here for the Smoke. And that's off the corner, ball 1 here to Anzondo.
Big difference between 1-0 versus 0-1.
Estelle Check getting loose in the pen. The former Texas Longhorn. 1 ball, no strikes. Ground ball to short. Bryant charges and throws in time for the out to end the inning. 2-run game after Grace Tilleman's solo home run. The 5th homer of the day and the 1st for the Coastal Bend tidal wave. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Smoke are hitting for insurance as they lead by 2 here in San Marcos. Still to come later tonight, the Texas Monarchs in their San Marvelous uniforms here today to take on the Hub City Adelitas. Game 3 of that series. So far, even 1 game apiece. Adelitas 9-1 run rule victory on Thursday. Monarchs got payback with a 9-5 win last night. But right now, the business at hand, the Coastal Bend tidal wave of the Texas Smoke. A 2-run game as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Smoke looking to go to 3-0 in the series and is 7-0 on the year against the expansion tidal wave.
Well, if that second game has near the entertainment that we've had here in Game 1, we are in store for a really, really exciting nightcap. This game was 0-0 after 1. We've had 2-0 half innings combined the rest of the game. 2s and 1s across the scoreboard out there. It's crazy.
Brian bunts that foul. So the story of the game, tidal wave grabbed the 2-0 lead, a huge 2-run, 2-out base hit from Tate Whitley in the 2nd. But then at the bottom of the inning, Smoke responded right away, manufactured a couple of runs, and then they started playing long ball. After that, the next 4 runs of the game for the Smoke, scoring on solo homers. Charla Eckles, Samantha Shao, Jazz Hill and Jada Cody. It was 6-3 going into the top of the 6th. And then Grace Chelleman, a solo homer of her own. Very weird game today.
Yeah, I thought Home Run Derby was a few days from now. It's come to San Marcos.
Valdez, that pitch just missing. It had the plate a little bit too high for our plate umpire Mario Calabresi's liking. And that kind of evens a 2-2. Also to bat in the inning, Silent Rain, Espinosa, and Morgan Howe. I do wonder if we'll see Samantha Schau pitch again in the 7th inning. We did see Estelle Check warming up. Maybe how this half inning plays out would make that decision simpler for Kat Tarvin. Bryant with a fly ball to right. Chelleman able to track it down. Nice play in right field, twisting and turning. Able to secure it for the first out.
Chelleman moving over from center field to right field. Bat off the ball, not the ball off the bat, not the same.
You saw her emotion to her teammate Malaysia Cho as well afterwards, kind of how the ball was traveling, swirling around in the rain of the wind here.
Yeah, you normally don't want to take that, they call it the banana path, to the ball. You want to do straight line, but all's well that ends well if you're a Tidal Wave fan.
Strike one to Espinosa. Will a 2-run lead be enough for the Smoke?
Bloop and a blast, right? Bloop and a blast.
The Smoke have scored in every inning since the first, and that trend continues because that's a big fly. Guess what? Another solo homer, 5th for the Smoke. Back on top by 3, and it's 7-4.
And again, a different player hitting the solo shot. And again, you have, what are we calling that? We have to name that tunnel. 7-4. Relentless.
And of the 5 homers the Smoke have hit, I think 4 of them have been opposite field for the hitters.
Eckles yanked hers.
Hers was
she went pull side, yeah. Schau went oppo. Espinosa, obviously, I have a great memory. Hers was opposite field.
Hill and Cody.
Hill's was right center. Yeah, right center, because I said they probably landed in the same divot.
Yeah. Rolled to first base, got through the wickets of Cannon, but Wiggins right there to back it up. A couple of Aggies teaming up to make the play. And good for out number 2.
Yep, that's your old standard 3-4-3 put out. Don't see that every day. Look at this. We had a trick shot earlier, catch by Jazz Hill, and how fortunate for Cannon that her former teammate and current teammate, Wiggins, came over to field the deflection. Should that count as an extra out when you do a trick shot like that?
Maybe it should. As Jazz Hill up at the plate now in this 3-run game. Again, if you had told me before the game that the Smoke would have hit out 5 homers, I would have thought they scored 13, 14 runs, just a 7, but so far it's enough for a 3-run lead.
And it's a game in which the Tidal Wave pitchers, particularly early on, Hamilton was trying to get her footing, so to speak, find the strike zone.
Knocked down by the shortstop, and the throw from Anzondo gets away. Hill to second base, going to turn from there on her way to third, and she's going to slide in safely. So Anzondo, a critical throwing error, leads to 2 more bases for Hill, and some more insurance stands at third base now.
Yeah, nobody knows it more than Anzaldo, but a play there, you have to understand who the runner is, and would have been much better served just to put that ball in her back pocket, get it back to the pitcher, and move on to the next batter. But the instinct of a player, a competitor, you want to make the play. You don't feel the ground ball. You want to make up for it, so you speed up a little bit. And it certainly wasn't for lack of effort.
You would think a 3-run deficit is manageable if you're the Tidal Wave, but anything beyond that going to be really difficult. This inning not over yet. 2 outs, runner on for Charlotte Eckles. And Valdez starts her off with the ball low. 1 ball and no strikes.
And that's why, again, keeping Hill at first base could prove to be enormous.
Every time in this game you thought the Tidal Wave were building momentum, the Smoke answer right back.
Every time. Tidal Wave 2 in the second, the Smoke 2 in the bottom of the second. And then when the Tidal Wave put up 1 in the top of the 5th, 2 by the Smoke, and 1 in the top of the 6th by Coastal Bend. And guess what? Yep. 1 right back for the Smoke, looking for more.
Eckles with a swing and a drive out to right, handled by Chellerman by the skin of her teeth. But enough to make the catch and end the inning. Beside the rain, Espinoza joining in on the home run derby today. An Apo Taco of her own, 5th homer of the day for the Smoke. And they carry a 7-4 lead into the 7th. 3 outs away for their 10th straight win. Coastal Bend has 3 outs to score, 3 runs, down 7-4 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. We were wondering who would be in the circle for the Smoke. It is, in fact, Samantha Schau, now a 3-run cushion. She's been in the game since the 2nd inning and in position for the win.
Good part of the order for the Tidal Wave coming up.
That would be Trinity Cannon, leadoff batter here, followed by Kelly Lynch and Julia Jimenez. Down 3 of the Tidal Wave need base runners here. Cannon so far has been on twice. 1 ball, no strikes from Schau, swung on and lasered foul. The count now 1-1.
Cannon's been on twice. Lynch lined out to center her last time, and Jimenez is 1 for 1 officially with a couple of walks. So production on the horizon, at least potential for production for the Tidal Wave.
When the game started, we mentioned that the Smoke had put up 16 runs in the first 2 games, but it only scored in 3 innings. Today, it's been kind of the opposite. They've spread out the scoring. They've scored in 5 of the 6 innings at the plate, and in none of them more than 2 runs in any frame. But enough for a 3-run lead right now, as Schau has fallen behind Cannon 3-1.
It's going to be such a, if this score holds, it's going to be such an interesting postgame for the Tidal Wave, because Coastal Bend did so many things well today. They checked so many of the items that you need to do to beat the Smoke.
Leadoff walk from Cannon. Again, the Tidal Wave in need of base runners get one to start the inning here. And Cannon is on for the 3rd time. And just like that, the tying run is on deck.
I'm not sure if you even have it available, partner, and I know I'm breaking a rule by asking you this, but how often have the Smoke given up 4 or more runs?
In any inning?
A game.
At a game?
I know, that was totally unfair.
The Idolitas scored 5 in the finale last Sunday. The Monarchs scored 5 in their win. And in extra innings, that 13-inning game, they scored 6. And I believe the Tidal Wave got to 4, the most against the Smoke of the series in Robstown.
Yeah, so 13 games for the Smoke this season. It's happened in fewer than half their games.
Yes.
We're very comfortable in saying that. So, again, back to what I was just saying, Coastal Bend, they've checked a lot of boxes. Score runs and, don't give up the 7-run inning, for goodness sakes, and don't give up the 3-run home run or the granny.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Lynch. 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Runner on, nobody out here. 3-run game of the 7th. There's a fly ball, left center, and that's going to reach the wall. Cannon to third base is going to stop there. To second is Lynch, and here comes Coastal Bend.
Lynch was looking for a ball to fall because all series, she's had some good at-bats and not necessarily getting the rewards for it, but that's an enormous base knock there, of course. And it's not very often you give credit to a base coach, but credit to the third base coach for Coastal Bend for putting up the stop sign there, because that runner at third base means nothing. It would have been disastrous had she been thrown out at home trying to score.
That's Blake Miller, the Tidal Waves head coach
Miller,
over at third. Yep. Kat Tarvin just came to the circle. Samantha Shaw going to stay in the game. Runners second to third, nobody out. Tying run comes up, Julie Jimenez, who Shaw has not retired since coming into the game. Jimenez with a walk and a base hit against Shaw so far.
And her single was a hard shot.
All right, so here we go. Jimenez versus Shaw. Advantage Jimenez to start things off. A ball to no strikes.
And if you want to look beyond Jimenez, Wiggins is on deck. And she's had some good at-bats today.
That gets away for the catcher, Cody, and scoring is Cannon from third. The wild pitch makes it a 2-run game. Lynch has the third base.
You're probably hearing it in our crowd, Mike. The Tidal Wave faithful here at Bobcat Softball Stadium are really into it now. There was a moment, we saw Bryant thrown out trying to score from third. There was a moment where I thought, uh-oh, Coastal Bend, have you just run into an out? And obviously not.
Up the middle, Bryant from short, behind the bag at second, makes a throw, but a productive out there from Jimenez brings in Lynch. It is a 1-run game, but if you're Shaw, you finally get an out.
Finally get an out, and also important, the bases are empty now, so you don't have that distraction of having traffic out there. It's almost like you're starting the inning over if you're in the circle or defensively.
Rylan Wiggins this year with Texas A&M hit 11 home runs. Takes the first pitch up here for ball 1. Well, here's a stat for you. Since the series of doubleheaders started on Thursday, two games each day, we have not had a bottom of the 7th inning. Check swing that goes foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the Tidal Wave trying to force that situation here, but they need 1 more run. Entered the inning down 3, and now it is 7-6.
When the Smoke went up 4-2, bottom of the 4th after Shaw hit her solo home run, who would have thought that there'd be this much drama at this point of our collective afternoons?
1-1. Wiggins with a sky-high pop-up. Eckles from third near her dugout secures it, and now the Smoke are 1 out away from escaping this game.
Coach Miller's going to come down and going to have a pinch hitter here. Talk about a big moment coming off the bench. Try to pick up a number here.
Alyssa Garcia.
Alyssa Garcia.
Going to pinch hit in place of Michaela Ramos. Garcia, former San Diego State Aztec before that at UCLA, steps in now. Bases empty and 2 down. Swung on towards right center, and that drops in for hits. And so the tying run is on with 2 outs.
How fun is that? Garcia's been in the dugout cheering on her teammates for well over 2 hours. And with 2 down in a 1-run game, coach says, okay, get up there and get a base hit. And that is precisely what she does.
Another change here for the Tidal Wave. Blake Miller going to bring in a pinch runner for Garcia at first base.
What did Chettleman do her last at bat, Brant?
She went deep to center.
Oh, okay.
Rock Benavidez is the pinch runner over at first.
Benavidez, one of 2 Tidal Wave Coastal Bend players from the Corpus Christi area.
Outside for ball 1.
And yes, in case you're just tuning in, you heard Brand a second ago, Chettleman, her home run was off of Samantha Shao.
Came back in the 6th. 1 ball, no strikes. Now it's 1-1. The Tidal Wave have been good with 2 outs in this game, 4 for 11. To include that base hit moments ago from Garcia.
Boy, checking another item on the checklist on what you have to do to put yourself in a position to beat the smoke.
1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss. Chellaman's eyes got big there, going up after a pitch out of the zone, and now Coastal Bend down to its final strike.
Yeah, it's up in the zone, so it looks good. You feel like you have good visual on it, and you just can't get on top of it.
Lays off that pitch that time for Shao. Probably thought to herself, yeah, you went after 1, why not try another?
That's exactly what a pitcher thinks, especially a savvy vet like Samantha Shao. So does she do it again? Does she come back to it, or does she try to go back inside?
2-2 on the way. Not as high as the last 2, but still kind of up in the zone. And that is a called strike 3 at the top of the triangle. Shao strikes out Chellaman in the game. And the Smoke survive, and with that, they've won 10 straight. Boy, ball again to the top of the strike zone. Just enough for Shao to get the strikeouts to end the game, and the Smoke hold on 7-6.
Brant, I think you said the pivotal word there, the Smoke survive, but they did survive to tack on another win. I want to close with this, though. Coastal Bend, tip of the cap to the Tidal Wave. What an impressive fight put on by them today. This was an exceptional display of softball.
Got to look there at Jazz Hill, one of 5 Smoke players, just 5 to hit solo homers in this game. We'll go back to hers in the 5th inning. And some defense as well from Hill. Made that great juggling catch in the outfield. Then from her glove to her bat, the opposite field home run. And for Jazz Hill, another homer in this park. She's homered twice this season in San Marcos. And with her defense and that big swing, her player of the game.
Well, partners, second game coming up. I guess we should grab our crash helmets and our seat belts and get ready for some more exciting WPF action.
That's right. Coming up next at 7 o'clock, it is Hub City against the Texas Monarchs. Going to wrap up this broadcast for now. So for Bill Colhane, I'm Brain Freeman saying the final score from San Marcos. It is a Smoke 7, Coastal Bend 6. This has been a presentation of the WPF. For more information, log on to WProFastPitch.com. We'll see you again in about 40 minutes from San Marcos for Game 2 of our doubleheader here from Texas State's Bobcat Softball Stadium.